There's a lot ahead to keep track of that is affecting your wallet in 2026. So let's welcome in now Yahoo Finance senior columnist Kerry Hannon, who can help break down the financial must-dos to make room for your non-essential spending wish list. Kerry, great to see you. So you offer us here, Kerry, a finance to-do list for 2026. And there's a few items just for January alone here, Kerry. So create a spending budget. You talked about an emergency fund, review your credit report. Is there one item there, one task in particular, Kerry, just for January, maybe I should really prioritize if I want to set myself up for a financially healthy 2026?
Yeah, Josh, I think the one thing that people neglect to do is to kind of take a minute and look backwards. And when you get those end of the year credit card statements that show you how you spent your money in 2025, it can be really eye-opening and a bit scary. They don't always have it in the right buckets, but when you get a sense of how you actually spent your money the previous year, you can spot areas that you're like, whoa, I do not need to go out to dinner so much, or whatever it might be. You can find ways to find savings right there by just understanding how you spent the previous year. The second thing that's on this list that's really important is make sure you have an emergency fund, because honestly, you don't know what's lying ahead in this year, and you could have some sort of medical thing that needs to be taken care of. You don't know precisely what that might be, even something that happens at your home or what have you. But if you have an emergency fund, you have a little cushion and a little peace of mind, and now's the time to make sure you have that set up.
What about retirement contributions throughout the year, Kerry? Walk us through how we should be thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of doing what most employers allow us to do if you're lucky to have an employer-provided plan, which is regularly contribute so whether the market's up or market down, you're making your contributions on a regular basis. But if you can possibly inch that up this year, maybe you've already told your employer you want to go up 1% more, do it a little bit more. And you can actually do that anytime during the year. You can shift to how much you want to go into your retirement account. And most financial companies tell you 12 to 15%, which including your employer match of your salary is a nice number to aim for. It's hard to get that high, but give it a shot to sort of up it up, what you can contribute this year. And I think that's one financial move you'll thank yourself for.
Is there any kind of budgeting mistake, Kerry, or mistakes that you see people commonly make?
Yeah, I think the one thing is you forget that just this coming year, you're going to have, an expense to go to your nephew's wedding, and that's going to be traveling, and it's going to be presents, or, maybe a vacation that you have in mind, and you kind of neglect to put that into your budget because that's just this year. But those things add up, and it's really important to try early in the year to get a grip of what those sort of extra expenses just for 2026 are, and make sure you're set up to navigate those.
Finally, Kerry, maybe I'm listening to this and I'm self-employed. Any particular advice there?
I'm so glad you asked that, because this is daunting. If you're self-employed, it is really difficult. So the best advice is automate, automate, automate. And what I mean by that is you need to be automating from each of the checks that you get from your clients, a percentage that's going to a high yield savings account for your quarterlies, for your estimated quarterlies for taxes for this calendar year. And set that aside so that you're prepared to make those estimated payments throughout the year on the schedule that the IRS has set up for you. And second of all, take the time to automatically save for retirement. So this is hard to do as well, but set up a SEP IRA or an IRA. And if you're lucky, maybe you have a solo 401k, but each month or each paycheck, just automate a certain percentage going straight into that account. And so you're saving for retirement, similar to how someone who is going through an employer plan, on a regular basis. So you're weathering the ups and downs. And again, Josh, another thing to remember for all retirement savers, you should stop at least one point during this year and say, am I comfortable with how my retirement savings are balanced? Should I be, just a little more risk averse? Where, you're balanced between equities and bonds. You can make that adjustment even in your employer plan, what accounts, what investments you have there. Do it with your new contributions, of course. But this is a way to sort of, if the market starts getting rocky this year, as we've seen in, over time, that it's not always smooth sailing, then you're a little more comfortable.
Kerry, as always, great to see you.
Great to be here.